Shalom, giving all praise to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachahakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations, as always, to the elect. And as this year has been coined by Apostle Tahar, the year of prophecy, it is kicking it off exactly in that spirit. Prophecy is being fulfilled at a rapid rate. As you can see, this is off of a website called businessinsider.com, and it says the UK is abandoning its alliance with Trump as United States withdraws from its leadership around the world. All right, so as you can see, the UK, which is Britain, is withdrawing from the United States, man. You know, they're abandoning their alliance with Trump as the United States withdraws from its leadership around the world, man. Because as you can see, Babylon the Great is being isolated. And according to prophecy, you know, the UK birthed Babylon the Great, you know, because if you remember, the Revolutionary Wars, which we'll get that in prophecy. As a matter of fact, we'll start off with that and then we'll get to it. This is Daniel, the 7th chapter and the 8th verse. All right, and this is a lot of history written in just a few verses, man. Okay? You know how America celebrates its independence? Well, the scriptures prophesied Babylon the Great getting its independence, man. Okay, this is Daniel 7 and 8. And this is speaking of that fourth beast, that fourth horn, which is the Roman Empire, which we're living in the last leg of the Roman Empire. This is Daniel, all right, chapter 7. As a matter of fact, I start at 7. It says, and after this I saw in the night visions, and behold, a fourth beast, dreadful and terrible, and strong exceedingly. This is speaking of the Roman Empire. And it had great iron teeth, and it devoured and brake in pieces and stamped the residue with the feet of it. And it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns. And the way it was diverse was they had a senate in which they voted in a leader, whereas kingdoms in prior times, the king would give his throne to his son. All right, but the Roman Empire, the Roman Republic, you had the Senate and all of those various different things, and then the 10 horns are the vassal states, what makes it a beast system. Okay, and then as you go down, it says, and I considered the horns, and behold. All right, because as he considered them, according to prophecy, the Roman Empire eventually fell. All right, and then for a 1,000-year period, all right, you had the Byzantine Empire, in which Jake was ruling, man. Then you had the Renaissance period, and then the whole Roman Empire was rebirthed, all right, through Babylon the Great, the NATO, and the EU. Okay, and I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn. All right, before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the root, and those 3 first horns are the French, the Spanish, and then you have the British. And America came out of the British, as you read in prophecy. The Britain is that 7th horn, that spoken of in Revelation, the 17th chapter. And out of British was birthed what? The 13 colonies, which eventually became Babylon the Great. Okay? So this right here is prophecy of the Revolutionary Wars, man. Okay? From before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the root. That's the Revolutionary Wars. All right? The Spanish, the French, and the British. Okay? And then America, which is that other little horn, was birthed, which that's where the end is going to come through. And we're right there. Now, as you can see, there's friction going on amongst these particular nations right as we speak, as we're reading this article. What is it saying? The UK, Britain, is abandoning its alliance with Trump as the United States withdraws from its leadership around the world. And there's another prophecy in Jeremiah we'll get real quick. It says the UK threatens to tear up its defense alliance with the U.S. after Trump's Iran crisis triggers a rupture between the two countries. So basically, they're ashamed of the U.S., okay? They're ashamed of what they have birthed, all right? It says UK's defense Secretary Ben Wallace says that the UK is looking to forge stronger alliances with other international partners which share its priorities. Now, the thing about that is, where is Britain going to go? Because if you remember, while Britain was, before the 13 colonies, what was Britain doing, man? In the name of Darwinism, going around the planet Earth, stealing, robbing, killing. You don't think India remembers what the British did? You don't think these Hamitic African, so-called African countries don't remember what the Britain did to them? Because Britain did a whole hell of a lot of wickedness as well, man, in the name of Darwinism, man. Colonizing. You don't remember the colonial period? So here it is, Britain think they're going to, separate from the United States, Babylon the Great, which that's their baby. All right. But where the hell are they going to go? These other countries go turn on their asses too, man. Okay. UK Defense Secretary Ben Wallace says that UK is looking to forge stronger alliances with other international partners which share its priorities. All right. And then you got to understand, as you remember, there was an article that came out last year. I believe brothers did videos on it. I know I did one, where these countries, because who has all of the gold? The Britain. UK has all of the gold, man. And these countries are seeking to withdraw their gold from that, man. From them. Okay? Because you have the UK is pretty much the financial power of this whole beast system, man. Okay? It says, he says the US risks withdrawing from its leadership of the world under Trump, because as the prophecy said, his look will be more stout than his fellows, man. As a matter of fact, let's see, verse 20, Daniel 7:20, and the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other which came up, before whom the 3 fell, all right, even of that horn that had eyes and a mouth that spake very great things. And this is speaking of Babylon the Great. Okay, America, whose look was more stout than his fellows. See, his look is more stout than his fellows, and it's causing friction, man, under Trump. And what better so-called leader to put in there, which the Most High through Yahweh Shah is bad, man. They understood, that Trump would be the perfect person to put in to fulfill this whole more stout than his fellows prophecy, man. Okay? And Babylon the Great is doing exactly what the prophecy said it would be doing, man. Okay, there as the UK says, US risk withdrawing from its leadership around the world. Okay? Wallace also reveals Trump threatened to tear up its intelligence sharing relationships with the UK, because basically America is just talking all sorts of shit, man, and leading these different nations that are aligned with them into wars that they don't want to be a part of. They're striking people who these other countries are having deals with. America's just losing their goddamn mind, man. More stout than his fellows, as I brought out in the last video I did. As the scriptures say, travel not with the bold fellow, right? Because you're going to perish with him in his foolishness if you travel with him, man. Like, you go to the bar, you go somewhere, and you got a friend that's always starting shit with everybody. Well, you don't want to travel with that guy. Well, that's America and this whole beast system, man. Okay? It says Donald Trump's decision to assassinate Qasem Soleimani has triggered a major rupture between the United States and its historically closest ally in the United Kingdom, the UK. Okay? In remarkably outspoken comments, UK Defense Secretary Ben Wallace said that on Sunday that Trump's isolationist foreign policy, all right, meant that UK was now looking for alternative allies around the world. Okay? I worry if the United States withdraws from its leadership around the world, he told Sunday Times. He added, the assumptions of 2010 that we were always going to be a part of a U.S. coalition is really just not where we are going to be. It says the comments came after Boris Johnson's government distanced itself from the attack last week. You see that? They distanced themselves from Babylon the Great because of what they did over in Iran. It says, with the UK Foreign Secretary Dominic Raab labeling it a dangerous escalation, okay, which risked a conflict in which terrorists would only be the winners. You see that? It says a spokesman for the Prime Minister was also quick to condemn Trump's threats to target Iranian cultural sites as a breach in international law and a potential war crime. See that? With Iran crisis ongoing, the UK is now openly threatening to tear up its long-standing defense partnership with the United States. Now let's get Jeremiah, the 50th chapter. Jeremiah 50 and 12. Jeremiah 50 and 12. Jeremiah 50, this is speaking of Babylon the Great. I started 11. Because ye were glad, because ye rejoiced, O ye destroyers of mine heritage. And this is speaking to Babylon, man. Through that horn, we will war out, man. You know, that war, that horn, Babylon the Great, made serious war with the saints. All right, it says, because ye are grown as fat as the heifer at grass and as the bellow at bulls, man. Your mother, which is British, that's the Britain, man, okay, who birthed the United States, shall be confounded. She that bare you shall be ashamed. You see that? And right now, as you can see, the UK is ashamed at what Babylon the Great is doing. Okay? She that bare you shall be ashamed. Behold, and what is this going to lead to? Behold, the hindermost of the nations shall be a wilderness, which is Babylon the Great, a dry land and a desert. But as I just said, Britain has to watch out as well, because they've done a lot of wickedness to these heathen, man. Okay, in the name of Darwinism. We haven't forgot. Okay? The colonial period, man, in which you just went and stole all of these Hamitic lands, all of these Indian lands, and did wickedness all over the earth, man. Japan, China. Okay? Britain has their hand up in all of that, man. Okay, Esau, Edom. So as they're talking about, they're going to withdraw from Babylon the Great and make alliances with these other countries. These other countries got their mind on what your asses did too. You damn Edomites, man. So you Edomites are in trouble. Now, as the scriptures say in prophecy, man, at the very end of your rulership, okay, these different alliances wouldn't stand, man. This is let's see here. Daniel chapter 2 and 40. In the fourth kingdom, which is ultimately the Roman Empire, and then eventually it will be rebirthed through Babylon the Great, the NATO, the EU, and these different alliances we see. And the fourth kingdom shall be as strong as iron, for as much as iron breaketh in pieces and subdueth all things, and as iron breaketh all these, that breaketh all these shall break in pieces and bruise, man. And they did bruise. Who did they mainly bruise? You Israelites, man. But they bruised all nations, man. They took down all of the different nations, man. Okay? But the main nation that they got, because this is basically Esau's blessing. When you read Genesis, the 27th chapter, Esau was given the fatness of the earth. Well, it would be through this fourth beast that he got that, man. Okay? That little horn that was birthed out of that fourth beast. Okay? It says, and whereas thou sawest the feet and the toes, meaning the very end of it, okay, part potter's clay and part iron. You see, this part clay and this part iron, man. The kingdom shall be divided. They're divided, man. And this is how you know we're at the very, very end of Esau's rulership, man, because they are a kingdom divided. As the scriptures say, if Satan be divided against Satan, then how can his kingdom stand? And we're seeing that play out right before our eyes, man. It says the kingdom shall be divided, but there shall be in it of the strength of iron, because they still militarily have power. All right, but politically they don't agree. Financially they don't agree. Economically they don't agree. That you got particular allies of the whole beast system making deals with Russia. which Trump is condemning. But nobody wants to listen to America no more. Now you got UK, America's closest ally, saying we got to distance ourselves from this bastard. So America's being surrounded, okay, and you Edomites are playing right in the prophecy, and you don't even know that you're setting yourself up for destruction, man. You getting ready to be destroyed, buddy. All right? So all we got to do is just ride the wave, man. It says, but there shall be in it the strength of the iron, for as much thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay. And as the toes of the feet were part iron and part clay, so shall the kingdom be partly strong and partly broken, man. And this kingdom is broken, man. It's partly strong. Of course, militarily they're strong, but they're politically, they're economically, and all of these various different things that they have going on, they're broken. They're mixed on opinions. You got one that don't want to do this, one that wants to do that. You can see all of these European countries are angry at Trump for what he did over in Iran in murdering that leader, you see. And this is only going to cause other heathen nations to join alliances and form their own beast system and strike Babylon the Great, as prophecy said, man. It says, whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, make particular deals, but they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with clay. So right now we're seeing that these different alliances and agreements that they've made, different nuclear deals, whatever, it's not working out. Prophecy has it to where now they're not agreeing on everything that they thought they would agree on to keep their power, man. Okay, and what's next? And in these days, these kings shall, and in the day of these kings, all right, these heathen nations, which ultimately is led by Esau, Edom, shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left to other people. It's going to be for the Israelites. No other nation will reign, all right, or be an ally with us in our kingdom, man. Okay? No heathen nation will have the law, statutes, and commandments written in them, which is the covenant for the Israelites. It says, in the days of these kings shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left to other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and shall stand forever. And this is what's getting ready to be set up, the kingdom of heaven. So the Lord has the government of these heathen nations, all right, not agreeing, man. Okay? But right here, you can see the mother of Babylon the Great, which is UK, is ashamed. It's ashamed of her doings, man. Okay? Let's see here. It says the UK is now openly threatening to tear up its long-standing defense partnership with the United States. So we're seeing it. Then you hear about the Brexit, which the brother Elder Require Kwam, he goes into that all the time, man. You know, GMS Fear the Most High 7. Now, a lot of those videos he did were deleted because Esau Edom took down his page, but that brother always goes in on that. He has a very good understanding on that. He's over there in the UK, you see. So be looking out to that brother's page, GMS Fear the Most High 7 Ba. And I'm pretty sure he's going to be going into this as well, because we talked about it earlier, man. Okay, UK Defense Secretary Ben Wallace told Sunday Times that the UK was increasingly looking for an alternative international allies. You see that? And the allies that they're going to seek, they're going to want to destroy Babylon the Great, man. And then they're going to want to destroy your ass, man. Look, like I said, the UK has done a lot of bullshit, man. I'm talking about they've become billionaires off of off of the soil and dust of these Hamitic nations and different other nations, man. Okay, I'm trying to think of the word, man. You know, like copper. You know, you have particular things that Africa and these different countries are rich in, and this is how Esau Edom has got to the top, through going to these other lands and possessing and stealing resources. That's the word I'm looking for. You see? Resources, man. I was just watching a documentary, man, on how they stole Zambia. You know, Zambian, you know, those are Jakes, those are Israelites, a lot of them over there in Africa, but they're rich in copper. Well, Esau Edom went over there and stole every goddamn thing, set up shop. Now the air's all polluted, and all Zambia is known for is rock, Zambian rock music, which that shit is jamming, and those are Jakes, but here it is, they're rich in copper and resources, but they're not benefit from it. Why? Because Esau Edom, the UK. So you're not going to get away either, man. But the Lord is going to use you in prophecy as well to be ashamed and ultimately aid these heathen nations in destroying Babylon the Great, man. It says UK Defense Secretary Ben Wallace told Sunday Times that the UK was increasingly looking for an alternative international allies. Over the last year, we've had the US pull out from Syria, the statement by Donald Trump on Iraq, where he said NATO should take over and do more in the Middle East for their purpose. You see that? See, NATO's tired of Babylon. Everybody's tired of you bastards, man. But we love it because it's all prophecy, man. Wallace said, the assumptions of 2010 that we're always going to be a part of the coalition is really just not where we're going to be. Okay? Let's see here. It says, Wallace said the UK would need to reduce its dependence on US military assets. The beast system is breaking up, basically. We are very dependent on American air cover and American intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance assets. We need to diversify our assets, meaning make alliances with other countries, man, because Babylon is leading them to more and more hell, man. That's that bold fellow, more stout than its fellows, man. Wallace told the paper that the UK would increasingly need to turn to other allies that more closely share the UK's interests. So the UK and Babylon are breaking up, man, basically. It says, regardless of what the US does, we are going to have to make decisions that allow us to stand with the range of allies with Five Eyes intelligence partners with America, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. All right? And our European allies where our interests converge, he said. And what's happening over in Australia is because you Edomites stole that. Australia is on fire because you Edomites stole that from the Japhetic people, man. So it's good that that's happening, man. Although you see the clips and you see particular animals, well, that's all prophecy, man. That's all prophecy. So you Edomites system is collapsing and falling, and ultimately what it's going to lead to is what's written in Revelation, let's see here, 17th chapter, man. Revelation, the 17th chapter, man. Okay? Revelation 17, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh, and burn her with fire, man. Okay? Through these different alliances that are going to be made outside of America's interest, man. Okay? And it says, for God hath put it in their hearts to fulfill his will, and agree to give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of the Lord be fulfilled. So they've agreed to give their kingdom to the beast for the interest of America, all right, for the interest of Babylon the Great. But now that the words of the Lord are being fulfilled, all right, they're having different opinions and different, alliances going on outside of America's interest, man. Because as you can see, the interest of America is leading these nations into a war that they don't want to be a part of, man. But I just wanted to bring that out. Hopefully y'all are edified. Shalom.